Peace, family. It's your brother, Marc Lamont Hill. Welcome to Night School, Monday to Friday, 10:30 Eastern Time, every single night here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. We have Night School. It's not a TV show. It's not a podcast. It is a global classroom. We break down the hottest issues. We have the best conversations. We go in depth to make sense of things, not to give you superficial news analysis, but to give you something deeper, something more long lasting. And that's what we do every single night here. And I want to thank everybody who's in the building who helped to make that happen. I want to shout out just a couple people here who are present and accounted for. I want to shout out Jazz LP. I want to shout out Change Wave. I want to shout out Wanda Chapman. I want to shout out Berzita Brujita, who I feel like I ain't seen you in a minute. Kimi Aboyade Acosta is here. Rolando DD is here. Roy is here. I'm shouting out all the channel members. Rachel is here. Coyote Hole is here. Asia Washington is here. Farah is here. Makeda is here. Rosability is here. The legendary April Silver is here. Baby K is here. Lil Miss 222 is here. Nicole Davis is here. Karen D is here. Abel, my man, my Habesha brother. Abel Tesfaye is here. C. Shada, I see you, my sister. Robert Clark is in the building. Someone is here. Boaz Kim Music is here. Winter Seymour is here. Keenan Bullard is here. Karen D is here. The Wanderer is here. That's a dope handle, The Wanderer. I like that. Twisty Locks. Shout out to every single person who's in the room. I appreciate you. You too, Husna. Already. All right, Zakia, I see you in the building as always. Shout out to everybody who's here for night school, because we have a lot to cover and there's so much important information. I'm so grateful to have you all here, and I'm also so grateful to each and every one of you for being channel members, for joining the channel and actually being subscribers to the channel every month. And I encourage everybody, if you can, to join the channel. But let's get started. We got a lot of ground to cover. Let's talk about Joe Biden. It looks like Joe Biden might have gained a little bit of courage on the question of Palestine. President Biden announced that he is going to change course in his response to Israel's war on Gaza. Now, you all know the war on Gaza. Every single night, we literally cover Israel's war on Gaza, breaking down all the ways that the Israeli government has waged not just a war on Hamas, not just a war on violence or terrorism or whatever they want to tell you it is, but actually fundamentally has become a war against the Palestinian people, and specifically a war on the people of Gaza. We have talked about it. The international community has decried it. Everyone has spoken out about why the United States is critical to ending the war on Gaza. Why? Because we give them the money. We give them the weapons. We give them the political cover. We give them the defense systems. We do all the things that allow Israel to move with impunity. Well, Joe Biden finally grew something, a heart, a spine. I don't know. But he announced that the United States will not send weapons to Israel if they choose to invade Rafah. What does that mean? It means that Benjamin Netanyahu, for months, has said that Israel is going to invade the city of Rafah. Rafah is a city inside of the Gaza Strip. It's the southernmost city in the Gaza Strip. Rafah is a city that normally holds about 250,000 people. But right now, Rafah has 1.5 million people in it. So imagine that. Imagine it's a place that only holds 250,000 people, now having 1.5 million people in it, right? And then imagine why they're there. They're there because they've been kicked out of other places. Their homes have been destroyed. They've been bombed. They've been shot at. They've been starved. And so they moved from the north to the center to the south. They're all in Rafah. And now that they're packed in like sardines in a can, the prime minister of Israel has said they're going to have an invasion of that town, looking for Hamas, allegedly. But what everybody has said is, if you invade Rafah, there's going to be violence. If you invade Rafah, there is going to be a humanitarian crisis of almost unimaginable proportions. And it's not just Human Rights Watch saying that. It's not just the United Nations saying that. It's Germany saying that. And Israel don't have a closer friend in Germany. It's France saying it. It's Canada saying it. It's America, United States of America saying it. They're all saying the same thing. And Israel's like, nope, we're going to invade. Nope, we're going to invade. Nope, we're going to invade. And even when a ceasefire was on the table, Israel says, well, we'll do a ceasefire as long as we can still invade Gaza. What kind of ceasefire is that? And finally, Joe Biden said, enough. Finally, Joe Biden said, enough. In an exclusive interview with CNN, Joe Biden said, quote, civilians have been killed in Gaza as a consequence of those bombs and other ways in which they go after population centers. So now Joe Biden is finally acknowledging that civilians are being killed by Israel. These are war crimes. Now, let me take that back. It doesn't have to be a war crime. Sometimes you have casualties, civilian casualties in war. But the specific way that Israel is striking buildings without a military target, without forewarning, advance notice to the civilians, these are the parts that make them war crimes. Anyway, a week ago, as I said, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced that the Israeli state is going to invade Rafah, regardless of whether a ceasefire is made or not. And what they've been doing since then, that announcement, he's been surrounding the city. Israel has been surrounding Rafah since at least Monday, so that no one can leave, no one can escape. They've taken over the border, and they're ready to go. But Joe Biden says, wait, if you do this, you're not going to do it with American weapons. Now, that's a bold statement. That's an impressive statement. I got to say, I'm glad Joe Biden said that. Now, let's not pat Joe Biden on the back too much, because Joe Biden isn't doing it out of love. He's had 7 months to do stuff out of love or care, but he's looking bad. He's looking funny in the light. Joe Biden is looking less and less progressive in the light, as I try to tell y'all. Joe Biden knows that in November, he's running for office. There's a bunch of young people. There's a bunch of independents. There's a bunch of progressives. There's a bunch of radicals. There's a bunch of college students. There's a bunch of Arabs. There's a bunch of Muslims, all of whom absolutely do not want this war to continue. And they absolutely don't want Joe Biden to be president if he continues to prosecute this war. So Joe Biden has changed course. If he continues to change course, saying, look, we're not going to cover you in the UN anymore. Saying, yo, we're not going to keep sending you money. Yo, we're not going to keep funding you to the tune of tens of billions of dollars now. We might see some change. So don't read too much into Joe Biden. Don't think he's a hero. Don't think he's doing you anything special. Don't think he's doing anything special for you. But do think that maybe, as a cynical politician, he realizes that his bread will be buttered on the side of justice than on the side of the vicious occupation. Anyway, that's my story about that. Let's turn to something else. I want to turn to something nice. I want to turn to something encouraging. There's an organization called Asase Cultural Arts Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization based in New York. It's dedicated to fulfilling, how do I put it, the beauty of this organization. I'll say that. The beauty of this organization is that it has some core tenets: enrichment, education, entertainment, and it's doing it for Black people. It's teaching Black people the beauty of African diasporic dance and music and culture. It's giving young people a space to learn, to study, to experience history, as they say. When I watch rows of young Black children drumming or dancing, when I look at the beauty of the performances of these young Black folk, I'm moved by it. You know, we talk a lot about violence in our community. We talk about poverty. We talk about suffering. We talk about misery, but we don't talk about joy enough. And the interesting thing is, not only do we need to talk about joy, but we need to talk about the relationship between joy and justice. We have great organizations like Asase Cultural Arts Foundation, which just celebrated its 20th anniversary. It doesn't just bring us joy. It actually makes us less likely to get arrested, less likely to die young, less likely to get shot, less likely to get pregnant, less likely, to get arrested. These spaces are beautiful on their own, but they also have a functional value. And so I want to celebrate these organizations. I want to celebrate Asase Cultural Arts Foundation. In fact, let's bring in a brother who is a founder of the organization, a brother who is a percussionist himself. He's the chief priest in the Akan tradition. He is a son of the People's Republic of Brooklyn. He is the son of some Mississippi-born Black nationalists and African spiritualists. He is a special brother, and he's somebody who I have great respect for. Let me bring in my dear brother, Kofi Osei Williams. My brother, good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. I appreciate that amazing introduction.
Oh man, you deserve it, man. The work you all do out in Brooklyn. I lived in Brooklyn for a long time, and so your name rings bells, and Asase rings bells. What you all do for the children, what you all do for dance, what you all do for drumming, is nothing short of extraordinary, man. What made you start it?
So in 2001, it was a collective of us that we all grew up together, and we really wanted to tell our story and our experience because, as you mentioned, it's so many stories of young Black brothers and sisters that go through hard times for whatever reason it is. And we knew that we had a different story. We grew up in a part of Brooklyn and New York, which, I grew up on Gates Avenue. Anybody knows about Bed-Stuy. Gates Avenue is pretty popular. And I grew up on Gates Avenue, but I grew up in a different kind of world than a lot of people were able to grow up in. So when we were ready to start Asase, we knew that we had a story to tell. We knew that we could break through with a positive impact and really do something for our community, not with a God complex, but with a complex of if each one teach one, we could hold on. And from that time, we have performed for over 50,000 people throughout the world. We have, served over 1,000 students throughout the community. And we've just, tried to do so much to just show that it's a lot more than a lot of the nonsense that's shown about us daily.
What does it take to start a cultural arts organization or foundation? I meet so many people who want to start these kinds of activities, these kinds of programs for young people, and they talk about not having the resources and not having the organization, not having the support. What does it take to build something like this?
Well, first, it takes love. Second, it takes imagination. Third, it takes community. Because without the community, we could have never done this. So some of the people in the community that we stand in, these are great people. If you ever heard of somebody like G2AUC, who was one of the founders of the East, or Nana Denny Zulu, who has the oldest African dance company in America, or people like Sonny Carson, who spent his whole adult life fighting for our people. So when you have those kind of people, shoulders you're standing on, then it makes it a lot easier. But it also takes patience. It takes knowledge as well. Or everybody that has started Asase, we spent a lot of time going to Africa and studying the music, but we also spent time in school. We also spent time reading. We also spent time being patient with each other. We also spent time understanding each other. And from Asase, it's a lot of other organizations that the members in Asase have also started that needed focus as well. So, we thought we were starting a dance company, but we didn't understand that we really started a movement. And that movement has transcended to something very special here in Brooklyn and worldwide.
Why is dance so important? Why dance? Why is that the pathway for you?
Dance and just the arts, period, is a way for people to express themselves. Everybody has had that moment when you get happy and you just start dancing. You don't even know why you're dancing, you get happy. And then, when you take that dance and you take that passion and you give it to young children and then you let them reflect on who they are, where they don't have to dance like other people. So yes, dance is good, but if you're telling kids their body type is not right for dance, then it's not good anymore. So that's why then you come to Asase, because it's not just.
I got to slow you down on that, bro, because you just dropped something heavy and interesting and important.
Yeah.
Talk about that for Black children when you enter dance, the world of dance, or whether it's dance school early, or whether you're trying to train to be a professional dancer or whatever.
Yeah.
What do our bodies have to do with that? What does it mean to be told you have the wrong body type? That seems like something heavy, and it seems like something Black folk probably get told a lot.
Yeah, because the most popular dance for a very long time was ballet, and people talk about if you want to be a dancer, you want to have structured dance, you want to have proper training, you have to do ballet. And the body of a ballerina, yes, the body of a ballerina is the body of a European. And that body is not the body of an African child, right? It's not the body of an African woman. It's very different. So, we give thanks to people like Arthur Mitchell that said we don't have to wear those same tights that Europeans are wearing because it doesn't match our skin tone and it doesn't make us feel good. But then we could go deeper to, like I mentioned, Nana Denny Zulu and Chief Bay, where they were saying, you know what? We do have a whole dance style and many different dance styles that are classical dance styles that precede ballet. And what we found out in these years is that these dance styles are more common to Black young children than any other dance style. The only other one that I would know is just growing up being a hip hop head or, jazz and stuff like that. So these are the different styles that when you look at B-boys, we dressed ourselves. We wasn't wearing the clothes of other people. We wasn't imitating. We were creating it. And it's the same way they created it. And ballet is beautiful, but it wasn't made for us. So things that are made for us make children feel better. And when it makes them feel better, that gives them the authority to say that, yes, I can be entitled to life and I could be a lawyer and I could be all of these things. People say all of that comes from dance. Yes, because it comes from self-image and it comes from.
And that's why it's important. I think when I hear people say classical music or classical dance, a lot of time when people really talk about is European classical music, European classical dance, we have our own traditions. We have our own classical traditions. We have our own classics. Yes. And when we decenter Europe and when we decenter white people, it becomes even more important. Let me ask you one more question. When you think about cultural centers like yours or cultural foundations, in addition to training people in the art, teaching people how to dance, teaching people how to drum, teaching people how to sing, whatever the thing might be, what other things are important to offer young people in addition to training in that field of expertise or interest?
So I think that the arts and the training is only a step, it's a stepping stone to what they really want to do in life. We have 100% rate of students going to college, 100%. No students have came through Asase and stayed with us. I'm not, some have come for a month or 2 months and their parents put them in basketball, but I'm talking about the ones that stayed with us. Every single one has went through college, graduated college. So now we have, some students that might have been on tour with Rihanna. They might have, but that's the arts field, right? They went on tour with Drake and 50 Cent and all of these great, artists. But we also have lawyers. We also have teachers. We also have chefs. We have people in all of these fields. But it starts with them coming and being in a safe place first. And then secondly, also knowing that they are great enough to be whatever they want to be. Great example. We have events all the time. We hire our children or our past students to do, if they are proficient in that field, like marketing or things like that, we will hire them to do the job. And these was, we had them from when they were 4 years old. They're now 24, 25 years old, so we're hiring them because they understand our mission, we understand their mission, and we work together.
Yeah, I love that. Tell me about the gala.
So the gala is May 14th. It's at the Brooklyn Children's Museum, and the theme is Dreams in Action, a night of African-inspired excellence. This gala, we are honoring four really amazing people. The first is Atiba Edwards. He is the first president of the Brooklyn Children's Museum. We have Cheryl Todmann, the founder and executive director of Stars of New York Dance. And to make a note, Cheryl partnered with us this year and gave 60 full scholarships to our youth.
Really?
That is amazing. Cheryl's she's not this big rich lady, but she had a dream, she had a goal, and she made the scholarships happen with in partnership with Hakeem Jeffries, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries' office. We have the first deputy mayor Sheena Wright, and we also have Malik Yoba, who is an actor, but I became
Malik is everything. He's an actor. He's an organizer. He's he's a philanthropist.
Yes.
He's a thinker.
And he has Yoba Development, which that's how I came in place with him because he was in schools in Brooklyn teaching young kids about real estate. And my nephew was in one of his programs. We did a performance. He seen it. He said, "Oh, y'all need to be a part of this." So Malik is a real good guy too.
A wonderful dude, man.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How can people support the gala?
So you could go to our website, asaseyaent.org. That's ASASEYAAENT.org. Nice. And you could buy tickets and join us if you're in New York. But if you're not in New York, you could also make donations. It is our goal next year to have 100 free scholarships, full scholarships for children in our community. And, one thing that I say is that anybody that wants to come and see what we're doing, you are invited. If you have any ways to support us, you are invited. We are a community. This is not a one-man show. You see, I'm still in my office today. We still
can't stop, won't stop, man. You grinding it out, King. I appreciate you. My brother, it's such an honor to have you in night school tonight, man. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for breaking this down. Thank you for schooling us on the history of some of these traditions in Brooklyn, but also around the country in terms of the Black arts, man. We wish you nothing but luck and success, and I'll be supporting that gala myself, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Everybody, that was Kofi Osei Williams. Such a brilliant brother, such a beautiful brother who's doing such important work for our children out of the People's Republic of Brooklyn. We're going to take a break. We got much more night school coming up right after this. Welcome back to Night School. We are here with a lot of great topics, a lot of great conversation to be had. One of them comes from the state of Louisiana. Republican lawmakers in Louisiana have rejected a bill that would add the exceptions of rape and incest to a strict abortion ban. On Tuesday, the lawmakers made their decision after hearing testimonies from doctors and victims. Now, the bill was proposed by New Orleans Democratic State Representative Delisha Boyd. Miss Boyd herself, this story is so painful. Miss Boyd herself was born to a 15-year-old mother, and her mother was raped by a 30-year-old man, a man twice her age. Now, her mother was forced to keep Miss Boyd because it was before the protections of Roe v. Wade were in place. Her mother had no choice but to carry the baby of her rapist to term. Now, lawmakers, of course, try to point out that Boyd would not have existed otherwise, right? These are the conservatives said, look, if your mama hadn't been forced to carry you to term, you wouldn't even be here. But she said it was the trauma from her mother's pregnancy that led her mother to a life of drugs and that caused her mom to die before the age of 30. This story is painful. This story is no joke, man. Louisiana is following the same playbook as Texas, Florida, and all these other, Georgia, Mississippi, all these other southern states that have decided that women should have no say over their own bodies, over their own reproductive choices. Now, even if you're pro-life, there are certain things that should be considered exceptional, right? Exceptions to the rule. If a mom is going to die by giving birth, she shouldn't be forced to give birth. You're basically making her force herself to die. If you're molested or raped, carrying the baby of your rapist is an unimaginable horror. And the outcome from being forced to do that kind of thing is exactly what we just saw from Miss Boyd. Exactly what we saw from Miss Boyd, from Representative Boyd. And that is that her mom was forced to carry her to term. And yeah, she became a Democratic state representative. People could say, oh, look what happens. This is a bright side of the story, right? This is why we should keep kids. But the problem is, first of all, most 15-year-olds who are molested and forced to carry the babies of the rapists, their kids don't turn out to be lawmakers. And the fate of these people tends to be much more like Ms. Boyd or Representative Boyd's mother was, which is that she was traumatized, she was hurt by it, and she was forced to carry this baby, and it led to a life of misery. And we have to think about that life of misery that we're contributing to, that we're facilitating, that we're creating when we force people to do this. So there's the practical reason of the social outcomes aren't good. There's also the ethical and moral reason that why the hell should somebody be forced to have and raise a child from their rapist? It's unimaginable, but that's what's happening. So how do we fix this? What do we do? Well, we look at these states that have these arcane laws or that are bringing up new laws, and we fight back. We organize. We vote. We vote. We vote. I ain't got no magic bullets here, y'all. I ain't got no secret sauce to fix this stuff. You got to vote. You got to vote these people out. Voting is not going to make us free. Voting is not the solution to all of our problems, but voting is a tactic that we should strategically deploy to prevent things like this, because these Republicans aren't playing. They weren't playing about affirmative action. They weren't playing about Roe v. Wade. They're not playing about any of this stuff. They will eliminate every single gain that we've made over the last 50 years if they can, and they are coming for us, so watch out. All right. Cuba Gooding Jr. breaks silence on sexual assault allegations. Actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is finally speaking out about sexual assault allegations made by Diddy's music producer, Rodney Jones, also known as Lil Rod. If you don't remember, a few months ago, Lil Rod filed, or maybe 2 months ago, Lil Rod filed a lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy Combs, accusing him of all kinds of misconduct, all kinds of sexual misconduct, among other things. And one of the names that came out was Cuba Gooding Jr. Cuba Gooding Jr. has been tied to Diddy in multiple ways and on multiple occasions. And this time, Jones provided this photo of Cuba sitting next to him with his arm around his shoulder. Now, according to people who were there, we've also heard Gene Deal say this, Cuba Gooding Jr. was making a move. Cuba Gooding Jr. was trying to impose some sort of power or dominance over him. This is not celebrity gossip. That's not why I'm mentioning this. I'm mentioning this because Cuba Gooding Jr. In November, and again with Lil Rod, and multiple times has been accused of sexual misconduct, of sexual assault, of sexual violence. And this time, the fact that it's a man may complicate that. It may be a non-issue to people, but either way, we got to recognize that the Diddy fallout is continuing, because this is not just him breaking the silence. This is him breaking the silence about Diddy and about the parties and about the networks of sexual predation and violence that he is accused of being a part of. I'm not saying he is a part of it, but he's accused of being a part of it. So in an interview with Patrick David Bent on the PDP podcast, Cuba Gooding Jr. says he was shocked by the accusations and says he feels Jones is aiming to get, quote, big money out of Diddy. Now, Cuba was one of only a few names in Jones' Lil Rod's sexual assault lawsuit against rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Now, others were alluded to be clear. He says this rapper's from Philly, this rapper used to date Nicki Minaj, etc. Like he's making allegations, whether you believe them or not. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. The lawsuit that he filed alleges that Diddy introduced Cuba Gooding Jr. and Rodney Jones, or Lil Rod, on a yacht, and that Cuba started touching, groping, and fondling Jones. So he's basically saying he was sexually assaulted by Cuba Gooding Jr. at a Diddy establishment where that seemed to be alleged to be the norm. I don't know what the norm is. I ain't never been to a Diddy party. I ain't never been to Puff's house. I'm not making official claims of guilt. I'm simply saying we got to think about what all of this means, both for Diddy and Cuba Gooding Jr., but for the broader scene where people are coming forward a month later, 2 months later, 10 years later with allegations and articulating a deep pain. How do we respond to that pain? Right now, Cuba Gooding Jr., who was radio silent on everything, can just stand up and say, it's nothing. It's just a money grabber. It doesn't feel that way to me. Anyway, another altercation outside of Drake's mansion. This one leaves a man in police custody. A day after a security guard was shot outside of Drake's home, another altercation causes a man to be detained. Around 2 p.m. Today, Wednesday, officers were called to the Toronto home after a person attempted to gain access to the residence. People trying to really get into Drake's crib. This person was taken to receive medical assistance under Ontario's Mental Health Act, which is an alternative to arresting individuals who officials believe may suffer from a mental disorder. So I agree about that, by the way. If someone has a mental health issue, what are you going to do? Locking them in a cage ain't going to make it better. Police were just at Drake's home on Tuesday as they investigated shootouts involving a vehicle that left the security guard hospitalized. Of course, this all follows the rap beef between Jersey and Kendrick Lamar. So again, a climate has been created from the violence. A climate has been created from the lyrical violence. I mean, a climate has been created from all the back and forth, all the hyper masculine posturing, all the gossip telling, the tea spilling, as they say. All of it is creating a certain context. So when Drake's house gets shot at yesterday, or when there's another incident today, it's hard to think of this as a coincidence. It seems to be directly tied to somebody or something who has a serious problem with Drake. Regardless of what you think about Drake as a rapper or as a singer or as an actor, whatever, the brother deserves to live in peace, dignity, and safety, and no one should be trying to stop that. All right, y'all. One more story before we go. DJ Vlad. If you remember yesterday, DJ Vlad got into a lot of hot water, but really all week, because he was engaged in a back and forth on Twitter with a Black woman who was teaching at Princeton at the time. She jumped in, Ms. Jerkins jumped in to say, hey, stay out of Black people's conversation. You don't need to comment on the mixed level of Not Like Us, which is Kendrick Lamar's battle rap that was quite successful on the last few days. And so Vlad jumps in and says, basically, you're saying I can't talk because I'm white. What if I called your job and notified them about this? And so, of course, he tags Princeton in his veiled threats to her, and then he actually says he's going to call Princeton, who he's tagged multiple times, on Monday. And so, of course, Black people went nuts. They're like, wait a minute, you going full Karen, Vlad? You going full Karen just because you like what somebody didn't say on Twitter? Now you're going to write a strongly worded letter or make a powerful phone call or whatever to the person's job? You're actually trying to get this person fired. This was the most Karen of Karen shit I've ever seen in my life. We have to respond as a community to this. And so people like me and others said, look, Vlad, this is not cool. You're using your power and privilege. You're using your power and privilege to punish a Black woman for saying you have power and privilege. Do you not see the irony here? But today, can we pull this up? DJ Vlad made a statement on Twitter. It's because he was getting dragged for the last 2 or 3 days. Because he was getting criticized by all kinds of people, even people who hate me. Like, yo, we hate Marc Lamont Hill, but he's right about Vlad. And I'm like, yep. So today, he tweets, after considerable reflection, I would like to apologize to Morgan Jerkins for tagging her job in my replies during our Twitter exchange last weekend. That is the most uninspired, unserious, insincere apology I've ever seen, right? He's like, after considerable reflection, I'd like to apologize for tagging her job. I mean, I'm glad that he admitted that he was wrong. I'm glad he reflected, and I'm glad that he admitted he was wrong. I like when I hear apologies to have the full kind of anatomy of the apology explored. In other words, like, tell me what you did. Tell me why it was wrong. Tell me how you think it affected me. Tell me what you'll do to make it better. Tell me you're sorry, right? There are things you can do when you apologize to actually repair the harm that was done. Vlad didn't do that. He did very little. And he continued to like and retweet, from what I saw, and I could be wrong, but like and retweet posts that were still dissing Morgan Jerkins. So, why do this? Well, the answer is simple. Vlad makes his money off of hip hop culture, right? Most of his videos deal with some aspects of hip hop culture. If you're in the outs with black people, it's hard to get on the good side. So choices were made, right? He's like, look, I can't continue to make hip hop videos and have millions of people. He has 5 million subscribers. I can't afford to have that, millions of people leave. So I apologize. Now, again, I'm not in Vlad's head. He and I aren't friends. We're not neighbors. I don't talk to him. But that's my read, right? Is that this was a cynical choice. That this was a strategic choice. Not that he's genuinely sorry about anything. That's my guess. But if I'm wrong, so be it. I hope he speaks about that too. Again, I tried to encourage Vlad on Twitter. I said, hey, I'm glad your reflection led to an apology. But yeah, he dissed Morgan. He dissed me. He dissed other people. And he didn't really hold himself accountable. He didn't really say what he would do better or different or anything. So I don't know. I'm glad Vlad apologized, but I expected a little bit more. I'd hoped for a little bit more. Anyway, he is who he is. He gonna do what he gonna do. Anyway, y'all, that's it for tonight. Thank you so much for watching Night School. Before we go, I do want to shout out some folk. Nader the F-Shar again became a new member. Farrah gifted a membership to somebody. I hope somebody grabbed it. Rolanda DD gifted 5 memberships. I hope everybody had a shot at those. And 5 of y'all got dope memberships. Shout out to D'Angelo Trawick. We appreciate you. C Shada, yes, my sister, you gave out 5 as well. You are the most awesomest in the world. Abel said, hope Mark will speak on the U.S. Force Airman Roger Forston, who was a black 23-year-old man murdered by cops inside his home. Because, I don't know this story, but I will read it. I will look into it. And if there's anything there, I'm on it. Thank you, Abel. Appreciate you, everybody. Thank you for watching Night School. Before you go, hit the like button. We have hundreds of people online, but not a lot of likes right now. Hit the like button right now if you feel the content that we're putting out is strong. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already a channel subscriber. That way you get the updates. Hit that little ding button so you can get notifications whenever I put new content up. And of course, if you're so inclined, you can help out in different ways. First of all, you can go and hit the join button and become a monthly subscriber to the channel. That would be absolutely. If you could join the channel, that would be amazing. That would be wonderful. That would help us build. That would help us grow. That would help us edit footage. That would help us hire staff. That would help us pay the producers. That would help us build a studio. All those things happen when you become financial supporters of the chapter. So of the channel. So you can hit the like button. That helps us so much. You can hit the subscribe button. That expands our reach. That helps us so much. And on the financial level, if you hit the join button, that helps us so much. And some of you don't want to go through those mechanisms. You just want to pay me or pay the channel directly. You can do that. Absolutely. You just go to Cash App right now, or you go to Venmo. And on both of those, we got MLHTV, Cash App, $MLHTV, Venmo at MLHTV. And please support us in any way that you can. Again, I know times are hard. I know YouTube is supposed to be an escape, so I don't expect people to be dropping a lot of money. But if there's anything that you can do to support the channel, we're grateful. Again, with the number of people we have online right now, if everybody watching right now or even later in post, if everybody just gave $5, if everybody sent $5 today, we would meet our fundraising goals for the next 2 weeks. We would meet our payroll goals for the next 2 weeks, we would be in solid shape. So if you can do that, please do. But if you can't, we understand. We forgive you. We're nothing to forgive. We appreciate you. We love you anyway. And just keep watching. I'll see you later.